Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Landing America. This is my first episode, and I decided to introduce myself in the form of interview, so that way you can get to know me a little bit better and get to know my story. So, Eric, feel free to ask whatever you would like to ask me.
All right. Well, Tatiana. So, let's start with your background, your family, where you went to school, stuff like that.
So, I was born in Slovakia. I was the third child, the youngest in my family. I was born in Prešov, which is a small town, about 100,000 people. I studied British and American studies at the university. I also did pedagogical studies to be able to be an English teacher. However, it never really was my dream to be a teacher, but you don't really know what you want to do when you're young. But the one thing I always knew was that I would like to see America one day. I would like to visit. As most young people, I was having part-time jobs while I was studying. So I was a server, hostess. I worked at the disco as a bartender. And later on, I moved to Malta when I finished my university. I lived there for 4 years, and I was working in a hotel, and later on I was working in a casino. And
Malta's dope, by the way.
yeah, Malta is a beautiful island.
What's your podcast about?
The podcast is about traveling to the United States for the first time. And from my own experience, I know that the idea of going to America can be exciting but intimidating at the same time. I can only talk from my own experience as a European, but I believe it's similar for all the other countries.
Yeah.
I just want to make this podcast. Basically, I feel like I'm making it for myself 6 years ago. And I would really wish to have some guidance and some information from someone who already lived this. Also, this topic is close to my heart because I love America and I learned a lot here. It pushed me further in my life, and it's something that I lived, so I can talk about this till the cows come home. I want to cover topics such as visa and immigration process and the cultural shock that I had, all the differences that you encounter, things that I know that people who think about traveling to America, they probably have no idea about these things, same as I didn't have any idea.
When did you first think about coming here to the U.S.?
Well, there was a student, high school student, who visited our school when I was maybe like 10 years old. And he was talking about his experience with studying in America. He spent 1 year, I think it was like his third grade of high school. That sounded so exciting. Like he was in this host family, and he was saying like how good they were taking care of him and things they provided for him, and I wanted to do it, but my parents didn't really approve.
No. What made you actually come to America?
I always thought about going to America, but it just felt like something that it's almost unreachable. It just seems like it's so far away.
Yeah.
Like if you imagine, okay, I'm gonna travel through Europe, I'm gonna go to Germany or Malta. It's a whole different story. America sounds like, oh my God, it's so far away, and I just never had the balls, and I never had the courage to just be like, okay, I'm going, you know. I felt like I need a little bit of a push. I also lived in Malta for 4 years, and even though it's a beautiful island, I started to feel like it's too small for me. I wanted to see a bigger world. I was sick for like 2 weeks alone in my bed, and I kind of felt miserable, and I was pitying myself. And I also was after a breakup, and I just felt like there is nothing holding me in Malta anymore. I sort of like forgot about my dream because, I was like 27 years old. I already felt like, oh, it's already too late, like you should be in your like 20, 23 when you go and explore. I already felt like, oh my God, I'm 27. Maybe I should like settle down and have a family. Like there's no more to it than where I'm now. And then I was on the phone with my friend who actually visited Florida a few years back. And it's funny how the life works because he was the one who reached out to me when I lived in Malta for a few years and was inquiring about Malta, and I sort of encouraged them to come to Malta. So I introduced him to my friends, and I told him, "Don't worry, it's easy. Just come, and I'm gonna help you out." And the same way, a few years later, he was the one who told me, like, "Why don't you try to go to America? I've been there. I was in Florida, and it was nice. Like you should experience it at least once in your life. It's a whole new world, and you're young, you're smart. What's holding you back?" So he brought this idea back to my head, and it was just like this one little push that in Slovakia we say that he like installed a bug in my head that was there now, and I just started thinking like, oh my God, what should I do? It was December 2017, and I introduced this idea to my mom over the phone, and she was not happy. She said like, why would you go there? And it's dangerous.
Your mom didn't necessarily support you coming here, obviously.
My mom didn't support me, and I think it's really important.
Did other people in your family support?
No one really.
Nerds.
No one really supported. My family was total opposite, and they would be like, just stay here, we want you here, like be born and die in the same town, like that's sort of like the idea, which for some people it works, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I felt it's not something that's for me. In many occasions I would really welcome support, because once you're here and you struggle and you go through tough times and you want to maybe complain to your parents, I couldn't really complain to my parents about anything, because the first response would be, no, not even I told you so. It would be, so come back home. Every time, every opportunity there was that something was not going the way I would want, or it was hard, I didn't receive support that I needed, but it would be, oh, well, if it sucks, just come back home. Like, you're always welcome home. We want you here.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually you stop complaining and you just keep it for yourself.
For sure.
And you go through it on your own because they don't understand.
So were you scared?
When I was coming here?
Yeah, were you scared or excited? A little mix.
I was more excited than scared. I don't even think I was scared. Honestly, now thinking back, I don't understand.
So
but
naive.
It's naivety, but also it's like a lack of knowledge of what is ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I felt was excitement.
So, not knowing what's ahead of you, what was your first impressions when you got here?
I was crying.
Yeah?
I was crying when the plane was landing. It was sunset time, and sunsets in Miami are just mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful. It was a long flight, but I will never ever forget that feeling. It's one of those feelings that there are very few in life, and I just felt like, oh my God, I'm here. I felt accomplished. I felt brave. I felt strong. I felt like
Independent woman.
not like better than anyone else, but I felt like, oh my God, I'm braver than most of the people I know.
Yeah.
You know,
It
and that
takes-
gives you like this confidence, just the idea that, okay, I made it and I made it on my own and I'm alone here.
Yeah. So now that you've been here, do we live up to your expectations?
I think that America actually exceeded my expectations, honestly. And people ask, like, how is it? How is it to live there? And it's hard to explain. It's just, I feel like everything is better, everything is bigger, everything is just, not everything, but so many things are just made to make your life easier. And so, especially when I go back to Europe, I feel like things are so overcomplicated there.
Like buying a ticket for a train?
Even like driving, like, you know, you guys have like automatic cars.
Yeah, most
And
cars.
in Europe, you have stick shift. And why? Like, why? Like, if it can be easier, why is it harder? You know what I mean?
I get you.
I feel like most of the things here are just made with the purpose of make life more convenient for everyone. And so that's how it feels to live here. It feels convenient.
It's definitely convenient.
Yeah.
We got like 5 different kinds of apps that'll bring food to your door.
I mean,
Like,
there are robots running around
there's
the
robots
streets.
delivering food to your door
Yes.
in Miami.
Exactly.
That's
So,
some serious.
yeah.
With knowing everything that you know now about being here and about the system and everything, what would you like tell yourself 6 years ago or do differently? Like what would you have, what other path would you have taken, or would you have gotten the same?
I would definitely do more research, and I would definitely inquire more about visa types and maybe educate myself a little bit more rather than just go fully into unknown world. I've been learning on the go, but I feel like it would be a little bit easier for me knowing things beforehand.
For sure.
So that's actually also the purpose of this podcast, for people who have no idea or very little knowledge about what's to expect, and I'm hoping to help them.
So if you got 1 or 2 little pearls
Mm-hmm.
of advice that you can give your listeners who want to come here, what are your like top 1, 2 things that they gotta do before they come?
They have to listen to their gut, listen to their heart. They should not get discouraged by parents or friends or people who tell them that it's difficult. If you have something in your mind that you want to achieve in your life, no matter how crazy this dream might seem to you, if it's inside you and you feel that that's something for you, just go for it and do everything that's in your power to get there, to achieve it.
Agree.
Yeah, I think it's important, because then at the end of your life you would be telling yourself, oh my God, I always wanted to go there or be this or do this, and I've never even tried. That's crazy. And my mom also told me that she would like to see America one day. And that resonated with me, and I sort of feel determined to bring her here one day. I know that in her eyes and in her mind, it also seems like something unachievable, something that is not going to happen in this life.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to prove her wrong. You know, even if I like give her a sleeping pill and just transport her in a private jet.
Could work.
But when she wakes up, I'll be like, Mom, you are in America.
So how often should your listeners expect an episode?
I'm going to drop an episode every week, every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday?
That's the plan.
Okay.
I'm going to have some solo episodes where I will be sharing either
Your sweet
my
guitar
knowledge,
skills?
information, and mostly my experience. And I will also have episodes where I'm going to invite guests, either friends or people I know that are immigrants, to share also their experiences with my listeners.
So you're gonna have like maybe a place where if people want to talk to you or like ask you something, like how does that work?
I would like to release my episodes on all platforms possible. I would also post on Patreon, where those who will get the membership will have early access to my episodes. They will be released on Monday for them, so 2 days earlier. I will also have a Q&A section where I will answer all the questions. So I will have a personal interaction with all the listeners. I will drop some behind the scenes. I will drop the videos as well of every episode. I might also record some episode in Slovak language. And yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Stay safe, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.